Here's the first big benefit of a smaller home. Less maintenance, more life. That's not just a slogan, that's hours back every single week. Less cleaning, less yard work, fewer repairs, fewer "we should really take care of that" conversation. Benefits of a smaller house. Nobody tells you this, but the house you work so hard to buy can eventually start working against you. More rooms, more upkeep, more stress, and less time for the life you actually want to be living. Because at a certain stage of life, more house doesn't feel like a win anymore. It feels like responsibility, maintenance, and a consistent to-do list that never ends. If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. I'm talking about today the real benefits of living in a smaller house, especially if you're starting to think about retirement, travel, and spending more time with family instead of fixing things around the house. And I want you to picture this through the lens of a couple I work with all the time. People who've done everything right, built careers, raised a family, stayed in the same home for decades. Now they're asking a very reasonable question. Why are we still living like this? When your kids are grown, extra bedrooms don't feel exciting. They feel empty. Large yards stop being fun and start being chores. And weekends that used to be about projects now feel like they're getting in the way of the life you actually want to live. Here's the first big benefit of a smaller home. Less maintenance, more life. That's not just a slogan, that's hours back every single week. Less cleaning, less yard work, fewer repairs, fewer "we should really take care of that" conversation. And what about replaces it? Travel, grandkids, concerts, spontaneous weekends away, sitting on the patio instead of constantly improving it. That shift alone is why so many people tell me they wish they had downsized sooner. The second benefit, and this one matters a lot as retirement gets closer, is financial flexibility. A smaller home often means lower utility bills, lower property taxes, lower insurance, and in many cases, equity freed up. Not necessary to spend recklessly, but to breathe, to know you're not overextended, to know you can buy before you sell without panic, to know that if you want to travel more or help family or simply sleep better at night, you can. That peace of mind is hard to put a price on. Now, let me address something I hear all the time. I don't want to feel like I'm downsizing my lifestyle. And here's the truth. You're not downsizing your life. You're rightsizing it. Newer, smaller homes often come with things your old house doesn't. Open layouts, main floor living, modern kitchens, energy efficiency. Spaces designed for how people actually live now, not how homes were built 30 or 40 years ago. And when that home is in a walkable neighborhood with community events, nearby restaurants, parks, neighbors who actually say hello, that's when people tell me they feel more connected, not less. Another huge benefit, and this one is emotional, is letting go of the pressure to maintain a home for a chapter of life that's already passed. Your house did its job. It held birthday parties, holidays, milestones. Honoring that doesn't mean staying stuck in it forever. Moving into a smaller home creates space, mentally and emotionally, for the next chapter. One that's quieter, simpler, more intentional, and yes, there can be fear in that transition. Fear about timing, fear about buying before selling, fear about what if we can't find the right home. That's why downsizing works best when it's planned, not rushed. When you understand your numbers, your options, and your timeline before you make a move, which is exactly why I put together a downsizing checklist. It walks you step by step through what to think through before you sell, how to evaluate whether buying first makes sense, and how to prepare emotionally and financially for the transition. No hype, no pressure, just clarity. If this episode resonated even a little, Go download that checklist. It'll help you start thinking through your next move with confidence instead of stress. Because downsizing isn't about giving something up. It's about making room for what matters now. And when it's done right, it feels less like a loss and a lot more like freedom. Thanks for spending these minutes with me, and I'll talk to you soon.